So it feels like forever since I've done a Q&A video. So I thought I would do one today. There's quite a lot of questions to get through, so I thought I'd break this down into a two-part video. So this is part one of my Q&A session for February 2021. So let's get into this. Hi and welcome back to my channel again. It's time for a Q&A session. I've not done one for a while and I've been searching through all my comments and some of my older videos, and it seems like there's a lot of questions in there that I've actually missed. So a lot of people have commented for the first time and I possibly missed it, so I do apologise if that is you, if you have commented for the first time and I didn't reply. Now that the channel's growing, we're over 3,200 subscribers at this point, it's getting a little bit tricky to spot every single comment. But in today's video, I'm going to try and quickly answer as many questions as I can from subscribers that I've possibly not chatted to before or I don't recognise the name. So if that's one of you, I hope I get around to answering your question in today's video. And the first question we've got is from Chris Kavanagh. And before we start, I do apologise if I mispronounce anybody's name. I have a strong Yorkshire accent. I'm from the UK, and apologies if I do mispronounce your name. But Chris, your question is, for a brand new site, how often should I be posting and how long does it usually take to start ranking? Now this is a question that gets asked quite a lot and there's no definitive answer on this. No matter what people say, no matter where they think they've got their information from, there is no guidelines or definitive answer. My opinion is you're always best starting with as much content as you can and then slowly drip feed the content onto your website in regular intervals. Now, if you've been watching my mega website series, you'll know that I tried something different. I tried launching a website with 100 articles on the website on day one and then added as much content as I could in the coming days and weeks. And so far, the difference has been not a lot, to be honest, because I'm still in the Google sandbox and I'm still not seeing that traffic spike. Although I do expect that once we hit month 6 and 7, the spike should be more vicious and more vertical. It should just shoot up quicker than it would do on a site if you're just adding 1 or 2 pieces of content per week. And how long does it take? Normally on a brand new site, I would expect to see your article indexed and showing up in the search within a few months. But I would expect it to see organic traffic and climbing up the SERP index, hopefully onto page 1, within about 5 or 6 months. For it to be fully settled and bedded in, I would expect that to be month 7 and month 8, and by then, whatever rankings you're at should be pretty good indication of where it's going to end up. Once your site is fully matured, then you can see success a lot quicker. I have websites now that I can publish content on and it ranks even within minutes. I mean, I've seen some ranking in like 7 or 8 minutes showing up on the SERPs, and even had one hit page 1 in under 10 minutes. Now that needs to be a real authoritative site and it needs to be a very, very low competition keyword that's underserved and has some page relevance and authority to the niche you're in. So I wouldn't expect that from a brand new site. I would expect that a brand new site will take at least 5 or 6 months to see where an article finally ends up in the SERPs, and that's where you're probably going to stay unless you do any backlinking or social sharing. And the next question we have is from Suited Ninjas, and you ask, on your Mediavine or AdThrive sites, do you mind me asking what kind of page speed scores your sites are getting on mobile and on desktop? Now this is a question that's getting asked quite a lot. I'm getting a lot of comments about page speed, and that's because Google announced that in May their next really big core update is going to focus a lot on speed and core web vitals. So these are the signs that show Google that your website is running smoothly, it runs fast, and it produces a great user experience. So that is a bit of a key issue for people at the moment. Anybody who's got a website that loads slowly or has images that's not optimized and it's dragging the speed down, are worried that their slow site speed might affect their ranking positions within Google. Now I do believe it will be a ranking factor, but I think it'll be a small percentage of it. There are so many different factors that will equal a ranking position, and page speed is not the only one. Now, if your website's taking 3 or 4 or 5 seconds to load, then you've clearly got an issue and you do need to work on that. There are tools and plugins that you can use to help you with that. I'm testing out NitroPack at the moment, which seems to be one of the best options. It is a paid tool and it is reasonably expensive, but if your site is making money and you want to grow it quickly and you want to instantly get that quick green numbers in the Core Web Vitals, NitroPack seems to be a really good option. I have an affiliate link for it. I will leave it in the description. Any of the links that I mentioned throughout this video may be affiliate ones, and I do make a commission if you use them, so I do appreciate it. Supports my channel. But yeah, NitroPack is one that I'm testing out, and it's the only one at the moment that I've seen straight out the box. You click a button and your numbers go green. Now, obviously, if you've got a ton of images on there that are really large files, or you've got a terrible theme, or really poor hosting, then no plugin or anything is going to sort that out. You will need to do some basic page optimization or think about changing your theme or improving your hosting. But no matter what you do, you need to put the basics in place first, and then these plugins can help you. So to answer your question on my page speed, I'll put a couple of screenshots up now. These are the screenshots from 3 of my websites. Now, I've had some of my websites redesigned and revamped by spiderweb.co.uk, and they're using Oxygen to build a lot of their websites now. It runs super fast. You can see by those numbers on the screen. But if you just simply want to improve your page speed, then I can only suggest adding a really light theme like GeneratePress, something like that, and possibly looking into, like, say, adding NitroPack onto your website. You should instantly see a green number appear, and it's very rare that you do see any scores less than A or B in the score rating system using GTmetrix if you're using something like NitroPack. So I hope that helped you out, and I hope that's answered your question. And the next question we have is from Cordelia Nixon, and you ask, I'm interested in your team of writers and proofreaders. How did you find and hire them, and did they come from buy-sell text? Are you able to share how much that has cost you? So my team has been built up now through the past 3 years. I have 7 writers, a VA, and a proofreader. So they've come from all sorts of sources. I can't actually suggest one source. Some writers reached out to me and asked me if I would allow them to submit a piece of content and judge it, and then if I was happy with it, I may be able to supply them with some work. Some came from iWriter, so I was buying some content on iWriter, and after a few months, those writers figured out who I was and then reached out to me personally, so I took a couple of writers from there. And obviously a few people have reached out through YouTube and through word of mouth on Facebook. No actual writers have come over from buy-sell text. I use buy-sell text every week, but the writers are buy-sell text writers, and I've not stolen any from them. I just place the order with them and they deliver the content. But my 7 writers, which by the way are wonderful writers, have just come from various places. And I just found being really honest and open and trustworthy with each other has produced a really great team of writers. And I hope the writers appreciate the work that I supply them and my feedback to them and the job role that I have within that community, and I hope that they appreciate it back. I'm sure they do, and we work really well as a team. But it's taken 3 years just to find 7 writers. You know the old saying, you got to kiss a lot of frogs to meet your prince? Well, I kissed a lot of frogs, and I tried a lot of writers, probably 40 writers, and that was to narrow that down to 7 of the best. So ask around, get in Facebook groups, just say you've got some content, you've got a little bit of money to spend, and you're looking for some writers, and you'll be amazed how many people pop up and suggest that they can write for you. Jump in my Discord group, post a note in there with lots of people in there, and lots of great writers in there, and you may get somebody in there that reaches out to you. So I hope you find a good team of writers, or I hope you find somebody suitable for your blog. And the next question is from World of Aviation. And you ask, Carl, can you please tell me how to sell a website without passing through a website like Empire Flippers, which has a huge commission of 15%? How does a safe transfer of a website take place? Well, World of Aviation, that is a great question, because I've recently been selling a few websites, and I've reached out to places like Empire Flipper, and I've reached out to places like flipper.com. And yes, you're right, they do have a huge commission, but I would suggest if your website is of a certain value, anything above, let's say, $2,500 to $3,000, I would highly suggest you use a service like that. If not, then your other option is to reach out to Facebook groups. I'm in a group, Niche Website Flippers, I think it's called, and people buy and sell websites from there all the time. But you 100%, if you're buying a website, have to do your own due diligence. Don't trust anything anybody says. Check the backlink profile, check Wayback Machine to make sure the site hasn't been used for anything else. Check for penalties on Google Search Console. You need to do your own due diligence, and it is down on the old saying of buyer beware. But I've also found some really, really trustworthy and helpful people on there. And I've purchased some sites recently, and you'd be amazed how helpful people are. And the world is not full of bad people, you know, despite what we hear on the news. There are some really nice, friendly, genuine people out there. So reach out to Facebook groups, like say, jump in my Discord group and advertising there that you wish to buy or you wish to sell a website, and you'll find a lot of people will snap it up if it's a great site. If you do want to sell it privately, then you can always use escrow for the money. So basically, I normally say to somebody, if we're going to sell a site or we're going to buy a site, then the money goes through escrow and we share the cost. So the average cost of selling a website, let's say it's $250 through escrow. Basically, the buyer puts the money in there, and when they transfer the website and everything's happened, then you both agree to release the money. And I normally say, can we share the cost 50-50? And it's a standard practice in the industry, and most people seem to go for that. If you're worried about transferring the actual domain over, or you're worried the technical side of it, you can always reach out to somebody like Phil over at spiderweb.co.uk. He handles all the transfer of my sites for a very reasonable fee, and he will make sure the site is either purchased and transferred to you, or your site is transferred to the new owner without a glitch. So I highly recommend you head over and check that out and send him an email. Just mention my name and then I'll know where you've come from. And the next question we have is from Fox Run Environmental Education Centre. And you ask, Carl, I love the concept of silos. My website is kind of evolved with several different categories. At times it worries me that I've gone too broad in environmental science niche, but now you've given me a new way of thinking about silos. I get interlinking within the silos, but what about cross-linking silos? Now, silos are what I've been working on my mega site. It's a flashy way of saying categories, really. And the whole idea around them is that you can then clearly show Google what authority you have on each page. So you're saying to Google, this is the main post I want to rank for. All these other contents support that, and they all interlink between themselves, and overall then send the traffic and that link juice to that main one article. So you rank really heavily within one particular category. Now, personally, I am still learning this. I will be honest with you. I am still learning the ins and outs of this. Topical mesh and silo structures and semantic SEO is an amazing part of affiliate marketing, and it's something that I'm learning. So I don't interlink in between silos. I currently just interlink within the silo. So I've not cross-linked. So I haven't gone from, let's say, football silo and then interlinked to a golf silo. Not that I'm in sport niche, by the way, but I don't cross-link them. Whether that's good or bad or right or wrong, I don't know, but I just interlink my entire silo. So my silo might consist of a main information or a main complete guide, and then it may have 40 information posts, and it may have 10 buyer guides for products, all within that silo, and they're all interlinked together. But I don't then cross-link them. I'll take advice for you. If anybody in this video is watching and they are experts in silo structures, please let me know, is that the right thing to do? But it's what I'm doing, and hopefully we'll see some results from my website case study, the mega website, and I'll bring you any data I can on that interlinking. And the next question we have is from Jerry Burns. And Jerry asks, my niche website was doing very well. My domain name has great authority, but I'm getting outranked by weaker website with weaker content. Not sure what to do. Now, Jerry, I know this comment was 3 months ago. I do apologise for the late reply. Like I said, I just stumbled across this comment. And 3 months ago, we were having a lot of issues with Google. Google was not indexing articles, throwing ranking articles out of the SERPs, bringing e-commerce sites to the top and then dropping it. It was all over the place. So whether that issue has corrected for you, I'm not sure. If you're still having the issue, I suggest having a look at that weaker content and analysing why it's jumped above you. It may be really poor content, it may be really weak content, but it might have 50 strong backlinks pointing to it. And that could be the overriding factor. It could also have won the snippet, and it could have out-jumped and outranked you just because of the snippet. So I suggest you take a look at that weaker content, find out why you think it's ranking for that, and try and do a bit of analysis on it. There must be a reason why. My bets would be on they've got some backlinks or a PBN pointing to it. That's usually the only way weaker, inferior content outranks you. So I've just got a couple more questions in this part 1 video of my Q&A. Like I say, in a couple of days' time, I'll bring part 2 out and I'll answer a few more questions that I've missed from previous videos. But let's have a look at the last couple. So the next one is from UK Beauty Rooms, and you ask, "Hi Carl, could you please do a video showing me how you made your Pinterest pins and how to write a description so they get clicks?" Well, if you look at my playlist, I do have quite a lot of Pinterest videos. I was very heavily involved in Pinterest last year to try and grow my pet website. Now, if you've seen a video I published a couple of days ago, I'll try and leave a card for it. You can see that after 7 months of not touching my Pinterest account, I'm still getting 3, 4, 5,000 visitors some months from that Pinterest account. So it was a really, really valuable thing to do. Now, descriptions, the only advice I can give you is you get 500 words, and you should treat it exactly like you would a blog. So remember, this is 500 words to not only catch the audience, but also to optimize for the search engine within Pinterest. Pinterest works exactly like Google. It's a search engine, and it will look for hashtags in that description. It will look for keywords in that description, and it will look for keywords that match the title of the pin. So make sure you save the image with the correct alt tags. Make sure you give it a great catchy title, and make sure you write 500 catchy words, including the keyword and hashtags in that description, and then your pin should do okay. And the next question is from a paid join member, Deborah. So Deborah's paid to be part of my YouTube community, which supports my channel. You can see on the screen, she gets a little icon next to her name, and it flashes up and it shows any comments that she made. So being part of that community, I do share a little bit more information on topics that I don't normally talk about on YouTube. There's some members only videos, and like I say, any comments you make stand out to me because YouTube pushes them to the front of the comments, and I can see them a lot easier and I can answer them in more detail. So thank you, Deborah, for joining. Anybody else wants to join, there's a little join button next to where the thumbs up are on my YouTube channel. It's only a couple of dollars a month, but like I say, it makes you stand out on my channel and it does support me. So thank you for doing that. So to answer Deborah's question, I love the transparency of videos, thank you. With your websites that you want to flip, i.e. the new fishing website you've got, what profit would you expect to make flipping that site? So Deborah's referring to a new website that I purchased recently. I reached out to my community because I wanted to buy an aged website that wasn't really doing very well, because I wanted to test some ads on it. I want to test some commenting and interlinking and all sorts of things. And I didn't want to mess about with my big sites. But it's not a website that I want to keep forever. And I mentioned in one of my videos that I will be selling it, I will be flipping it. So my idea with buying a site like this, if I'm ever going to flip a site, a quick, small site like this, would be, let's say I buy it for $1,000. I would spend probably $250 to $300 on some new content, revisit some of the old posts, refreshing them, maybe speed up the site, and maybe just improve the content generally. So let's say I invested $1,500 in that. I would then expect to flip that on something like flipper.com or a selling site on Facebook for around $3,000 to $4,000. But I'd only be able to do that if I can show what I have achieved and I can show the improvements on the site. I'd also like to see the traffic sort of heading up, so you can say to somebody, this is where I bought the site, the traffic was there, and now I've done this, we're 3 months later, and the traffic is now there. If you can improve the site overall, then you can increase the value of it. So yeah, a quick flip on a site like that, I would expect to make $2,000 or $3,000. So I hope you like that Q&A. Like I say, part 2 coming out soon. I didn't want to make videos that are 45-50 minute long. Answering these questions can get a bit boring for you guys to watch, but hopefully I've answered one of your questions in there. If I haven't, hopefully I'll answer one in the next part 2 video, which is coming out soon. So thanks for joining me, and don't forget, if you're not entered into my website giveaway, head over to callbrobin.com, subscribe to my newsletter, and then you have a chance of winning that website giveaway that I'm doing over on my channel. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you in the next one.